Well, hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel, Gospel Simplicity, a place where we are passionate about the beautiful simplicity and transformative power of the gospel. We're out to talk about life, Jesus, and the journey of faith in a real, honest, and open way. So if that at all interests you, I'd really encourage you to hit subscribe down below if you haven't already to become a part of what we're doing here on this channel. Well, guys, I can't believe it, but here we are. We have come to the final episode of our Elements of Faith series, developing a holistic faith of the head, the heart, and the hands. And today, having already covered faith of the head in the first week and faith of the heart last week, we are in faith of the hands. And all throughout this series, we've been talking about this holistic balance of faith, like a tripod, right? Like this three legs that your faith rests upon, the head, the heart, and the hands. And that if one of them is lacking, you're going to be off balance. And like the tripod that my camera is sitting on, if I shorten one of these legs, I will start to look very strange. And so it is with our faith. If one area is lacking, our faith is going to lack in all areas because they're all interdependent upon one another. And we really want to take an inventory and see, how can I best grow? And so what we've seen is that faith is a matter of the head. It's something that our intellect is involved in, but it's not just that. It's also a matter of our heart. It's something our emotions are involved in, but it's not just that, and it's not even just those two. It's also a matter of the hands. It's something practical, something that can be seen through our day-to-day life, through our works, how we express our faith. That is what faith of the hands is all about. And sometimes you'll hear people talk about like faith versus works, but I really want to shift that paradigm for you and not talk like, is it faith or works, but faith that can be seen through works, faith that works. And the reason this comes up is because we like to talk about, how are we saved? And it's true, we are saved by faith and by faith alone. I actually just talked about this in my last verses of the week video, and there's going to be some overlap with that video on this one, and I encourage you to check that one out. And yes, we are saved by faith and faith alone, but that faith is a faith that works. True saving faith has to be expressed in works, because if we truly believe what we say we believe, it'll change how we act, because ultimately what we believe about the world in a day-to-day fashion, not just what we say we believe, but what we functionally believe, will determine our thoughts, which will determine our actions and our emotions. And this is the same with faith. If we truly believe that the world is not just here arbitrarily, but that there's actually life after death, and that our quality of life after death is determined by how we live this life, that's going to radically change how we live day to day, right? Like if we truly believe that our life is but a vapor, as we talked about in the book of James this past week, that our life is a mist, that we're here one second and gone the next, and then we're on into eternity. Well, we're not going to live this life as though this is the end and we just need to get all the experiences we can, get all the pleasure and the money and whatever it is, because boom, then we're dead and gone. Like that's not actually functional, and that says something about what we truly functionally believe. We're acting from a belief that says this is really all there is, no matter what we say about the end. And so that's why faith of the hands is just the natural overflow of a true faith of the head and faith of the heart. If we have truly assented to what the Bible says, if we truly believe those things doctrine, they've truly moved our hearts, they can't help but be seen in what we do with our hands. It's the practical side of our faith. And James talks about this. In James 2:17, he talks in very clear terms that faith without works is dead. Like you don't truly have faith if it's not accompanied by works, because you're not acting from those beliefs. Like those aren't real beliefs that have become real to you. And in the next verse, he says, some people will say, I have faith and I have works. And he says, I'll show you my faith by my works. That's really the only way we can see it, right? Like people can't tell what's going on in our heads. They can't tell what's going on in our hearts, but they can see what we do with our hands. Are we serving? Are we giving? Are we expressing a belief that says, you know what? You are more important than I am. That my life is meant to be lived for the benefit of others. The only way they're going to see that is by what we do practically. It doesn't really matter what we say. Talk is cheap, but our actions are oh so valuable. And so we have to pay attention to that. And that's why just faith of the heart and faith of the head, they can't exist without this third leg. This is what will visibly make our faith real to those around us. It'll be the living testimony to what God has done inside of us and what our thoughts say and what our beliefs are in our head. Like this is so important. This is what people will see. This is how they will know that we are Christians. Jesus tells the disciples, it's by your love for one another that the people will recognize that you're my disciples. principles. And that's a very practical thing. It's not just like a love, just emotional, though that's in there. And it's not just like a thought of like, okay, yes, I believe this truth also in there, but it's also going to be, how are you going to serve one another? And in the early church, we see in the book of Acts, they're breaking bread together. They're sharing their possessions. It's faith of the hands. They're getting, down in the weeds. They are serving the poor. They are helping the widows. Like that is the faith of the hands, the physical expression of their faith of the head and faith of the heart. Earlier in the book of James, he talks about a similar thing. He says, religion that is pure is caring for orphans and widows, looking after the people that the world doesn't look after. And what is this connection? Well, the connection is, if we truly have faith in God, we have faith in his promises, then we see, okay, the natural thing for me to do with my life, not out of obligation, but the natural thing for me to do is to care for those who the world would look over, because that's what God's done for me. And if I'm really following in Jesus' footsteps, well, then that's just going to be expressed by me doing the things that he did. If I believe the things he said, I'll do the things he did, right? Like it's not that complicated. We like to make it complicated. Like faith works. It's both and. It works through faith. And this is a really powerful thing, I think, when you begin to fully grasp it. It's not that we do works because we want to please God, but we do works because that is what is just natural because of our faith in God. We recognize the grace he's given us, and we want to extend that to others in a tangible way. We recognize that he laid down his life for us, so we lay down our lives for others, whether in actual physical sense, like we physically die for someone, greater love has no other than to lay down his life for his friends, or just in a sense of like, I'm going to put my well-being second to you. I'm going to, in humility, count others above myself. Like this is faith of the hands, and it's going to be worked out in very tangible ways. And so I hope as we come to the end of this series, you see how these three things work together. And, faith of the heart, your emotions being stirred by God, is going to lead to that faith of the hands. And it's going to help solidify what you've already what in your mind is going to become real. And in the same way, what you believe is going to change what you feel and what you do. And what you do is going to change how you feel. As you begin working out your faith, you will begin to be transformed by it. These three things, they can't be separated. They all work together. And this is how you're going to build a faith that truly transforms your life and begins to transform the world around you. So I hope this series has been helpful for you. I've had a blast doing it, and I'm so appreciative of those of you guys who have been listening to it, who have been tracking along with it. I hope it's made an impact in your life. And at this point, I just want to leave you guys with the opportunity to go out and put this into practice. Go do these things. And the first thing I'd recommend you do is take an inventory. What area am I lacking in most? What area do I need to pay the most attention to? Maybe it's faith of the hands. Maybe you need to just start expressing your faith in tangible ways. Like go start serving on a team in your church, or go start, volunteering in the community, whatever that looks like. But maybe for you, it's faith of the head. Like, I really need to start learning some stuff because my faith isn't grounded in anything objective, and it's not grounded in just a knowledge of the word. Like I'm not spiritually maturing through that. So maybe you need to focus on that. There's great resources out there for that. Or maybe for you, it's like, hey, I need what I know in my head to become real to me in my heart. And I think for me, that's the area I want to focus on the most right now. This idea of break my heart for what breaks yours, God. Like Jesus, as he looks at the unrepentant city of Jerusalem, he weeps and just wishes that they would come to him. And I want my heart to break like that. I want my heart to break like Paul, who says, I'd rather be afflicted for your sake, that you would come to Christ and I would be cast out. Like that's a level of heartbreak that I don't see in my life. And so whatever area it is for you, just hone in on one of them. And this next week, find one way you can grow in that. And I think if you begin to do that, you will begin to see real changes in your life. So again, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, I encourage you to click like, leave me a comment down below letting me know what you thought both of this video and this whole series. And as always, if you haven't subscribed already, I'd really encourage you to do so down below to become a part of what we're doing here on this channel. But until next time, guys, be on the lookout for more videos. And as always, go out and love God and love others, because that will change the world. Peace. Love you guys so much. See you next time.